In this lecture, we're going to see how we can pass parameters to a function by pointer to const. And this is going to prevent people from going through the pointer and modify the data that we have passed to the function. Here is a simple example that is very similar to what we did in the last lecture, but notice the change in the function signature here because we are passing by pointer to const. Okay, we have a const in front here, and this is going to prevent people from going through this pointer to modify the data that we passed when we call the function like we do here. Okay, we have the same setup like we did in the last lecture. We are passing this age variable, and when we hit the body of the function, notice that when we try to modify the age through this pointer we are dereferencing, we are going to get a compiler error because we're not allowed to go through the pointer to modify our data here. This is the setup you can do if you don't want people to modify wherever the pointer you passed in your argument is pointing to. And sometimes this is useful. Use this if it makes sense for whatever application you are designing. For now, we're just going to head over to Visual Studio Code and play with us. Okay, here we are in our working folder. The current project is passing by pointer to const. We are going to grab our template files and put them in place. Let's do that. And we are going to open this in Visual Studio Code pretty quick. Let's do that. We're going to open this. We're going to have our main CPP file here. And we are going to reuse the code from the last lecture and modify it a little bit. This is what we had in the last lecture. We were passing by pointer, but now we want to pass by pointer to const. And at the moment we change the signature here, please watch this line here where we are trying to modify our age through our dereference operator here. So we're going to change this to pass by pointer to const, and the syntax for this is const int pointer. So we're going to do that in our function signature. And at the moment we do that, we're going to get a squiggly line here because we can't go through this pointer to modify what is pointed to by this guy here, age. So we shouldn't be able to do this. Let's bring up a terminal so that we can see the error we are getting from Visual Studio Code here. We're going to hit the Problems tab, and we're going to say expression must be a modifiable L value. So what this is saying is that we can't really go through this pointer to modify whatever is pointed to because this is a pointer to const. Again, if this doesn't make sense, please go back and watch the chapter on pointers. We explained these things extensively. For now, we're going to try and build this and see the error we get from our compiler. We are going to get a compiler error that we expect. And the compiler error is going to say increment of read-only location. So if you go through this pointer, you can't really modify, you can only read stuff. This is the meaning of the error we have here. If we comment this line out, the modification is going to go away. And if we try to build, we're going to build fine because now we are no longer trying to modify a read-only location. And if we run Rooster, we're going to see that we see 23, 23, and 23, and our age wasn't modified in our function call here. This is the effect of passing by pointer to const. In your function body, you won't be able to modify whatever was passed to you as an argument through that pointer. And sometimes you want to prevent people from doing things like this because you don't want your variable here modified if that is what is making sense for whatever application you are building. This is really all we set out to do in this lecture. I hope you found it interesting. We are going to stop here in this lecture. In the next one, we're going to see how we can pass by const pointer to const. Go ahead and finish up here and meet me there.